Welcome back to Attacking Third. The end of the season is where it all matters. Who comes in first? Who is above that number 8 playoff spot line, and who drops deep. Now, last year we had Orlando Pride win both the Shield and the championship, and Washington Spirit, they came in second to both of those roles. Second in the standings and also second, falling just short of winning the championship in the final. So we gave our predictions and our picks for the entire stats. They're going to be out on social, so go check those out. But let's start with the big ones. Let's start with Shield winner and champion, Darian. Who is at the top of the table? Who's making playoffs and who's winning the ship? So Shield and championship.
I am going Kansas City Current to win the Shield. I do think that their goal scoring ability, how they'll build from last year, can get them the Shield this year. Sorry, Orlando. I don't know if you'll repeat that. But I do think the Pride will repeat winning the championship again. I think they're going to run it back. Watching how they played in the Challenge Cup, this is a team that hasn't taken their foot off of the gas pedal, and they've added more and more depth to their team. I'm rocking with the Pride, and not just because I have my old jersey there. I truly believe that they're going to do it.
They're paying her. Just kidding.
I wish.
I love that. I was sweating when I was putting this together. Go ahead, Lisa. Sorry.
No, I want to hear. Who made you sweat, Jess?
Just trying to figure out a team. It's so hard to do predictions, you guys. It gives me anxiety sometimes, and so just trying to put a list together who's going to be winning the Shield and the championship. It's hard. It's hard to do back to back. So I did not give the Shield to Orlando this time around. I give the Shield to Washington Spirit. I think that they're going to have some fire behind them this season, just because they're coming off of the loss in the championship, but they started the year off right, winning the Challenge Cup. And so I'm going to give the Shield to the Spirit, and then surprise champion is going to be the North Carolina Courage, just because, again, I'm biased and I would love to see them get a 3rd star on that jersey.
Whoa.
North Carolina, I went there.
Courage. They finished 5th last year.
Yes, they did. They could not stop Chewinga.
The thing with North Carolina is they are always a contender. You can never count them out. They're always going to throw people off, but they don't have a lethal goal scorer that puts them in the position to do that. I mean, I would love it. I love watching North Carolina play. My Shield winner is going to be Kansas City Current. They're going to be at the top. They're going to outscore opponents, point differentiators. They're going to run away in terms of that situation. Washington Spirit is going to win the championship, though. I think that they'll fall probably to 3rd, even 4th in the standings at times, just because of how competitive it is going to continue to be at the top of the standings. But I have Kansas City and then Washington winning. And I agree with you, Jess, on the anxiety factor, because last year, when I was looking at that table in comparison to what I wanted to see this year, I actually had like 10 teams below the playoff line. I had more teams that I was like, okay, who is going to impress me and move up? And that was tricky for me. But last year, when you think about the point differentiators, it was the top 4 and then such a big drop off. There was 27 points between the 4th place team, Kansas City Current, and the 9th place team of Racing Louisville. 27 points that those teams had to make up. And I don't think that changes in just one season. So I do think that we'll see Orlando Spirit, Kansas City, Gotham, North Carolina at the top of the table again. But I did have big moves in my changes that we saw, because big changes of teams that dropped very low. And Portland Thorns, I don't know where they're going to score any goals this year. Without Sophia Wilson, without Morgan Weaver, they are going to drop to me out of a playoff position. I currently have them in 11th, and Portland Thorns won't make the playoffs for just the 2nd time ever in club history. That's my biggest drop, D.
Oh, you know what? Same, but I actually have them dropping to 12th. I have them dropping 6 spots to 12th. I agree. I think maybe Raylan Turnan's going to step up and score some goals for them, be an effective goal scoring machine. But is it enough defensively with how much they lost? in the midfield, who's going to step up and really be the playmaker this year? Olivia Moultrie, I want to see it. Jess Fleming, I really want to see it, but I just don't know. It seems like one of those rebuild years for me for Portland. Lisa.
Yeah, nuts. I don't have Portland in the playoff contention this year either. I actually didn't rank them. It's kind of jumbled underneath, ranked number 8. So I think that who I think will make it into the playoffs this year, who I'm excited to see because they hit kind of a refresh button with some of their roster, and that's, Seattle Reign. I'm excited to watch them this season and seeing how, the likes of Lynn Williams is going to, fall into place playing underneath Laura Harvey because she's such a good coach. And, they still have a lot of their experience from Jess Fishlock and Lou Barnes. So I think that Seattle Reign is going to make it to the playoffs this year. But Portland, I definitely have them down at the bottom as well.
Seattle finished 13th last year.
Yes,
to jump all the way up to playoffs.
Yeah.
That's a big ask. I have Seattle just outside 9th place, just outside looking in. So Dee, we both said Portland as teams dropping. I also have Chicago dropping. I don't know, in hindsight, I literally don't know how they made the playoffs last year. I'm sorry, Sandra.
By the skin of their teeth. Sorry, Sandra. Sorry, Red Stars.
Sorry, Chicago. I'm so sorry.
I don't know either. Unless we have more interviews with Lauren where he gives us a little bit more and we have some insight, they're going to stay low to me. I also had them dropping. But my biggest jump, at least I think you'll agree with me, I want to say we're on the same wavelength today, is Houston Dash. I have them jumping up 8 spots to 6th. Right now. I think that they'll be really effective under Gatrot, under Yasmin Ryan, Delaney Sheehan, all of these players that they've acquired, all of this leadership, all of these technical technicians on their team now. And Comeback Player of the Year, Lisa Carlin, Diana Ordonez. This can be a really effective team that is so much more consistent. And I think that that's what's going to give them the edge over teams that I have beneath them. Maybe they're not going to be the best team that we see that's scoring all these flashy goals, but I do think that they'll have a lot more consistency, and it'll be more of a cohesive Houston team than we have seen in a really long time.
So you took Houston from 14th to, what'd you say, 6th?
6th, up 8, yes.
Wow.
I think it'll be a big jump.
Wiggle room, too, for the playoffs. I have the Dash in 7th. They're going to make
we've been one off of each other on each one. I have Seattle in 8th.
Yeah. So Houston is a big jump for me, obviously, just because they were 14th last year. And my other team that is probably my surprise jump is the Utah Royals, because they finished 11th last year, but they had Jimmy Coonratz take over and establish an actual style of how they wanted to play. They didn't need to go get as many game-changing players in this offseason. They brought in Alex Luera. They have Ali Sentnor, and she is going to be set up for success, to score goals, to be dangerous. Paige Monahan can take on more of a leadership role as setting up Sentnor to score these insane goals. So I have Utah as one of my surprise teams to make it into the postseason and get above the playoff line.
I like that. Okay, Utah. All right, Utah.
I don't know, guys.
You know what? They were a sneaky team last year. There were times where we didn't expect much, and they pulled out a win. They fought back late. They made it really hard for teams to score against them. And with a full year with Jimmy Coonratz getting more players, they could be a really tough team to beat. I think what's key about both those teams is the consistency. Both of them, I think, are going to be much more consistent, and that's more difficult to me to break down than a team that is going to drop points at some point.
And they don't have too much ground to make up, both Houston and Utah, because we saw so many glimpses of it last year. Now they have a full season to kind of run with it. There are a lot of question marks around Angel City. I've dropped them pretty deep. I think San Diego is going to concede a lot of goals. They're going to struggle this year. They're deeper. I still don't have Racing Louisville making the postseason.
Sorry, Jess.
Struggle.
Oh, don't say sorry to me. Neither do I.
Sorry, Bev Yanez. We have all of our standings put out there, from Sandra to Christine, Darian, myself, Jess. they're out there. Go see them on social media. Sandra has written up a lot about the 2025 season in the NWSL. Go check it out and hear about it. And these are our picks. Let us know how right we are throughout the season, how wrong we are. Anyone we might have missed that we should have given some love to, whether it's a team or a player, and let us know, because the season is around the corner. And this was a bit anxiety inducing, Jess. I promise it gets more fun as the season goes on when we're done with all these crazy picks and predictions. But this was fun. I enjoyed doing this with you guys. I was a little nervous about this. It's hard to pick all these.
It's difficult. And what's even more difficult is the freaking names. Mark just put in our chat $1 in the Red Stars jar for Darian. We need to have something like a mixing up last name jar, something like that. Wrong team name, wrong colors, something like that. I'll start it first.
Games
I'm losing
start Friday, guys. We'll see how many players actually change their jerseys with the name on the back. The Stars, not the Red Stars, for Chicago. So much fun in the NWSL, and it is right around the corner.